Hello, everyone, and welcome to the More Sugar podcast, where we have conversations to help heal and encourage. We are on episode 4 of Soul Sessions, Coping with the Loss of a Mother, and we have the lovely Miss Lina Banks. Groundhog's Day. Me and Lena had a bit of a technical. I had technical difficulties yesterday, and she was gracious enough to come back and do it again. I chose Lena because everyone I chose prior to asking her, I was lifelong friends with. I knew for a long time, and that wasn't the case with Miss Banks. So I was hoping to learn things from her along with everyone else here at the time of the podcast. And we met through a mutual friend, and I always say sometimes when friendships end, I'm lucky enough to gain people through those friendships, and we mostly interact on social media, not because that's what people do. I mean, you see somebody's story and you comment, and next you know you're having a conversation, and so that's what our relationship stems from. Aside from mutual friend, and again, I don't want to forget anything that I mentioned before, but Lina she inspires me, not just from her living her life, but through works that she do. And she was one of the first people that I sent my book because I wanted her opinion on writing aspects of it. And I never told her why I sent it to her. I just sent it to her. I was like, read this. But I wanted people's opinion that didn't know me, because everybody knows you and loves you, tell you what you wanted to hear. But I wanted her opinion on, honestly, because she didn't know me. So we're going to speak about Lina's mom and how she copes with grief. So,
hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this lovely Sunday. Yeah, man, me and Amanda, we have gone back now. It's been years at this point. Started off just like she said, social media, and she wanted to get into blogging at first, and then it just blossomed to this author and just wonderful woman that she is. So I know she just be sitting back like, what? You come from this and then on to that. Like, yeah, it really works like that. And I really just appreciate you for having me here and going over this session and discussing the journey that it is.
So tell us about your mom.
Yeah, let me tell you about that rambunctious woman. She was a great woman. If you liked her and you loved her. And if you didn't, then you literally would just hate her and not want to deal. And she did not care at the end of the day. Yeah, so her passing was sudden. People lose people every day, and sometimes they get a chance to prepare for it, even though you can never really prepare for the passing of a person. But it was very sudden for me because I was there. I had just saw her, and I don't live in New Jersey, so I was clearly visiting. I just saw her and left her, just excited because I knew I had some news to share with her. And I was like, Mom, when I come back, like I'll be back, and I just gotta share some stuff with you. I gotta tell you a few things. I was excited, pretty excited. Went on a trip to Philly, and I was in the Michelinette store, and I came across a vintage Lawrence Taylor jersey. And my mom, we're Giants fans, and so I've been this all my life. Shut your mouth. I've been this all my life, and I, just wanted to get her this jersey. So I was like, man, let me text her and ask her what her size is, see if they got it here. So I text her, and she didn't respond, which was not unusual, but I was asking about Lawrence Taylor, so I figured she would give me a quicker response, So she didn't respond. So I got back to my room, and then I'm like, well, damn, it's been, a minute now. I done went shopping and everything, and she's still there. I went shopping. I went to an event, and she still didn't respond. Now it's nighttime. So I'm like, let me just maybe text her wife. So I text her wife, and I'm like, hey, I'm just like, Mom didn't answer her phone, like didn't answer it, and I had called her, so didn't answer the call, didn't answer the text message. Like, what? Why didn't she answer? I just wanted to know where her size was. I'm on, telling the story. I seen the jersey, and she texts me back like, I don't know what's going on, but your mother has not been responsive.
Right.
She's not responding. And I'm like, y'all are in the same house. What do you mean she's not responding? Like, of course she's not responding to my text, but I'm asking you, like, why isn't she responding? And then she texted me back. She said, no, like we went to sleep and she is not responding instantly. I'm like, call the phone. Like, what do you mean she's not responding? Like, what do you mean she's not responding? I need description, detail. Like,
Right.
you call 911 when you realize she's not responsive. And she's like, I called them. So I'm like, well, put the phone so I can hear what's happening.
Right.
They have droids, so it wasn't like I can see. So I was like,
you got judgment. Come on, your judgment.
So I was like, put the phone so I can hear what's happening. Like, if she's breathing, yeah, she's breathing. Well, put the phone closer so I can hear it. And it was just like heavy, like snoring. And I was like, no, hurry up. You need to hurry up and call 911. I called my nephews. I said, go to the house because Bit is there by herself. She's there by herself. You need to go to the house.
Right.
Somebody be with her when the ambulance do get there. And I hopped on the highway back to New Jersey, and of course in shambles, because I'm like, oh my God, something is happening. What it is, I don't know. I don't know the seriousness of it. I called my sisters and I'm like, hey, y'all gotta go or come. My little sister lives in Pennsylvania. Y'all need to come and go to UMD and see what's happening. Y'all can probably get there before me. But
were you on that drive to Philly by yourself, to New Jersey by yourself?
No. I was by myself. So I was with my friend and we were just driving. So my sisters, I don't think my older sister went to the hospital, and my little sister came later. But I get to the hospital and I'm like, she's in the ER, not in like a hospital room yet. So she's still in.
So they brought her to the ambulance and never took her straight to
a room. No, she was in the ER.
Oh, okay. Well, they worked on you in the ER.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha.
So she's in the ER and I'm like, I go in and I'm like, oh, she's hooked up to the machines at this point and still not responsive. And I'm like, oh my God. Well, then I'm talking to her and she's still not responding. And so for me, that was like really heartbreaking. Experiencing that, like her not responding to me, because I feel like she always responds to me. Like it's a happy response.
Right.
Like, oh, Lina's here, like the joy of it all. And I didn't get anything. So yeah.
So
sudden passing.
I had a question, but I'm going to save that. I just thought of a question, but I'm going to save that to later. So how long from that ER experience until she passed away?
Let's see, that was July the 21st, and I believe removed her from life support August 3rd. So a few weeks.
So you had some time with her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you asking her and God, or just God, for her life?
Both.
I'm asking because some people aren't spiritual.
Both.
And both.
Definitely both. I'm saying to her, like, Mom, please don't do this to me. Like, I'm pleading, like, please don't do this. Like, this is not, like, this was not in my plan. I'm not going to say the plan, but this was not in my plan. So please don't do this to me. And at the same time, I'm saying, God, why now? why do this now? Like, please bring her spirit back. Like, the body is here, bring the spirit back, you know?
Has her death affected your relationship with God? Like after that experience?
It definitely shakes the spirit.
Right.
That definitely shook my spirit and took a toll with the relationship, because they say don't ask why, but really why? Like, why did you do that? Like, why was that the time?
And so what do you do after you guys, the day she passed away, you decide that as a family, you're going to remove her from life support for whatever reasons the doctors deem necessary.
The day of the so again, I was there just with her during that time, and we went through the process. And unbeknownst to me, my mother left me to be the person to make the calls, which was shocking as hell. But, also with her wife, in conjunction with her wife, and discussing it with my sisters, and getting the information from the doctors, and understanding that, she didn't have any brain waves and everything. It was tough. So over it all, I just was, hey, y'all, Ernestine wouldn't want this to be sitting here and continuously on this machine. We have got to let the body go.
So how long do you think they would have let this go on if you hadn't put your foot in the
If
doorway?
it was up to my stepmom, if it was up to her, I do not know, honestly. She struggled a lot with, I don't even know the word. It was almost like denial.
Right.
You're in denial. And that the person that you love is a different type of love, of course. So the person that you love won't be there tomorrow.
And that's what you use to kind of coax her into coming to your side of thinking. Like, if
Yeah.
this isn't what she
She
want, this
would
isn't
not,
who she really want.
it was like, she would not. And if she is not going to come back 100% Ernestine, she will be done. She will be done. So we need to go ahead and release her. It's going to be okay. And she came around, everybody came around. And I said, well, this is the date. This is the date, y'all. This is the date I'm giving the doctors.
Okay.
And this is it. And I got back I said, I'm going home. This is the date.
And you went home.
I'm going home. Got on my flight and went home. I was not there when she took her last breath. My older sister was there. And I was okay with that.
Why? You didn't want to be there, or you figured I seen enough?
I did my part. I felt like I did not that I've seen enough, but I had did my part, and I was at peace.
Okay.
I made my peace, like
With her.
being there
With what's happening.
yes, being there every single day, holding her hand, and pleading and crying out. I had made my peace with, Mom, you did your job, and it's okay for you to go on. It was
Have you ever been that vulnerable since then?
No. Mm-mm. The loss of the person who birthed you,
Yeah.
is a different type of loss. I'm an orphan adult. That's what I'm an orphan adult.
My Uncle Jeffrey said he's a motherless child.
Yeah.
He could get on the old Negro spiritual and sing the song for you. I'm like, come on.
Yes, it's like I'm an orphan child. Like, I had lost my father. I've lost my real blood father. I've lost my stepfather. So I know the loss of a parent, but woo, my mother really just.
And I think that can attest to your relationship that you had with her, because some people lose their mothers and don't go to the funerals. right? And so
Mm-hmm.
that's another episode of unhealed trauma. Okay, but I get it. What you're saying, you was at peace.
Mm-hmm.
So wow, that comment I mean, just like took me from it took me somewhere else. So that's my mind just be working. So I'm gonna go away from that before I.
I said, I'm gonna go away. I'm gonna go to the other side.
Yeah, we'll go to the other side. I was asking you about your vulnerability.
Yeah.
Because obviously, again, with social media, I try to be vulnerable on social media to inspire other people to be their authentic selves because it's not a place where authenticity exists.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't get that from you.
No, I have vulnerable moments and posts like recently I posted, a reel about it was basically saying this moment was when I was going through some of my toughest times, like really
Right.
dark space, and nobody noticed it because I was smiling and everything else and going on with life. It was literally the darkest. Like I was pulling myself out of a space and nobody noticed it. Nobody noticed it. It was.
Did you reach out to people or you hurt that nobody noticed it?
No, I'm not hurt. Nobody noticed it. It's not so. It's not that no one noticed it. It was very minimal people that were consistent in my life. It was about four people in total. I can count them on my hand. I remember them, and I thank God for them because they kept me in a safe place.
Mm-hmm.
But it was not like other people just saw me as Lina living her life.
Right.
But it was just some people that can see through the Lina.
So that kind of speaks to the question I had about what makes you feel alone. So it's just moments. It's not one particular thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's just without your mom. It's like a void that basically nothing
can
no
feel
one.
That. Mm-mm. Nothing can feel that.
Now, there's this saying about how women are daddy's girls and boys are mama's boys.
Right.
So that will lead someone to believe that women have better relationships with their dad or they look for their dad in a mate or vice versa.
Right.
But I tend to, maybe my thought of it is skewed because I'm in a same-sex relationship. So I thought I kind of looked for not my mother, but someone who I knew would be a good mother to my son.
Right.
And some aspects of my mother and a woman. But you're not. But have you been searching for a rambunctious spirit in a mate?
No.
Do you find that? No?
No. Mm-mm.
No?
No. I have.
How do you?
I have the spirit.
Word.
I have the spirit.
So you live through your mother, right? You're her.
Mm-hmm. I have the.
So somebody.
I have the spirit.
Get your rambunctious spirit.
Yes,
basically.
I have the spirit. This is what people say. Like when you just like so spontaneous, you just drop of a dime, and I'm like, yeah, but life of the party.
Right.
If I showed old pictures of my mom, she's literally out and about, the life of the party. And that is her and that is me. And each one of my sisters, we all have something different from my mother. I am the life of the party part of her.
Gotcha. So since you're not there when they take her off, and you get the phone call at home in Atlanta, what do you do after that?
I sit alone. I just sat alone until my kids came home from school. Like I just you process it.
Yes.
That okay, it is done. I sat alone for a while till the kids came home, told them we removed grandma, and that was the first people. Those were the first people I, shared it with. Then I got right to business. Got got a call, sisters, brothers. Gotta, let my sisters know what the plans were when I'm flying back to New Jersey. We need to go visit this funeral home. We need to go to this. We need to go to this place for where she want to be laid at, and we need to find her plot here. And it went straight to business for me. It goes handle these things.
Is that because she left you in charge? Had you not been in charge, had her wife been making all these plans, would you have sat there a little longer?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Because there would be nothing for me to do. There would have been nothing for me to do.
See, that's what that's about. People like us having to do shit trumps our grief.
Yeah.
So we don't have time for grief.
I had no time. I didn't have no time until October. Now, this is months later. October was the time when I was like, oh my God. And I went to my mom's gravesite every day. I went every day.
While you was in New Jersey?
While I was in New Jersey. I went every day. But it was in October when it really, really hit me. Like,
is her birthday around that time?
No, her birthday's in February, which is coming.
Is she Pisces?
Huh?
Is she a Pisces?
No, she's an Aquarius.
Oh, okay. So she coming up.
Yeah, the day after Valentine's Day. So in October we were at ShopRite. So random. And they're shopping on 22. Typically they do not play this type of music. So I was really shocked. So I'm, food shopping, and I just stopped. And I'm like, this song cannot be playing right now. This cannot be playing right now. They was playing Gangsta Lean, and my mom loved that song. She would blast it and then play it over again. She loved to play certain things on repeat. So sometimes when stuff come on, I'll be like, oh Lord. Oh Lord, it's MC Hammer pumps in the bump. But it's like it's Deion Sanders, must be the money. Oh Lord.
She was with it, huh?
She
was the life of the party.
She was the life of the party. I tell you, no lie. It's Tupac. Oh goodness! Like,
okay, now I can look at your social media a little different now. Now I'm watching your mother.
Yes, that's exactly what you're doing.
Okay,
and so the song came on, and I was like holding it in. Went up, checked out, got in the car, and completely exploded. My kids
down the wall
was shocked because they didn't get a chance to see me grieve. I didn't cry at the funeral.
How old are they at this time?
Ooh. I can't remember how old they were at that time. This was 5 years ago. So
got it.
Lily was 15, I'm assuming. 14 or 15. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So 5 years ago. So yeah, she was, they were like in the back seat, like, what the fuck? And I'm just like angry. The fear and the hurt turns to anger at this point, because I'm like, you really fucking left me here. Like, you left me here. Like, not just in the world, but in fucking New Jersey. Like, you left me here.
Damn, the pain. How dare you leave me in Jersey?
How dare you leave me here alone? I had plans for us. Like, it turned to anger really quick. And I was just in shambles. I called my sister and I'm like, girl, why? Just why? Like, I cannot believe it. She is just like, oh man. She also didn't see me grieve. So for her, it was like, Oh my goodness. My older sister and my younger sister were clear grieving. And I was just like, I don't know if I was shocked or, just could not believe it. But yeah, October was it for me. That day was like, oh man, just hearing that song took me out.
So, aside from her physical presence,
Mm-hmm.
what has her death taken away from you?
My plans,
Your plans.
my plans for her. Like, I legit had plans. It was like I said, the day before I went to Philly, it was like, oh man, when I come back, I got news for you. Like, and
Right.
I just planned on doing the things with her that she always said she wanted to do. So
Mm-hmm.
when she says, when she would see me out and about and traveling and just doing stuff, period, I would have liked to do that. I could go there, I could make it to this place. And it was like, okay, she can possibly make it to that place, but I can't afford to take her these
Right.
times back when she was asking me. Now I was in such a good space and position. I can do things, I can take her places. I can do things for her. I can fit her in my budget. She won't have to ask nobody for no money and feel any type of way about it. And those plans were gone now. So that was
Well,
it for me.
does so going back to New Jersey to visit,
Mm-hmm.
her wife still lives there?
Yes. I still walk into the same museum is what I like to call it, because everything's still in the same place and it all looks the same. So,
I was about to ask, does that give you comfort, anxiety, sadness?
so for a few years, it was very hard. I want to say at least
Right.
the first 2 years, it was very hard to go back, you know, in there and just be there and not see her come around the corner, not see her answer the door, not hear her voice. It was very hard. It was very hard and heavy. um there have been times that I've gone there again for the holiday, or I've gone there and it just so happened to be around her birthday, and it's heavy as hell. It's just heavy. It's like, oh man. I, I think one year I actually woke up there in the house on her birthday, and it was just
Mm,
like, just crying. I was good the day before, but then the day of, I was just in shambles. I woke up crying. And it's a different type of thing when you wake up crying. Like, who wakes up
yeah,
in there crying? I was like,
that means it was on your spirit
yeah, I was
before you went.
physically crying, like, oh my God. Like, but then I can't remember what happened, but I think Tupac came on or something, and it was like, all right, that's fucking enough. And I was like,
No, you the G.
yeah.
I remember um the first time I went to my brother's house after he passed away. It was I went a lot up until there was a week after he passed until I was making a reservation. I kind of like hung out there a couple of days, but then when I went back afterwards and when I left, I didn't stay long. I was, I didn't make it around the corner. I had to pull the car over and throw up.
Mm, mm.
And it is heavy
It's heavy. It's heavy as hell.
because there's a spirit. I don't know if, and there was a comedian that I always refer to that when Def Comedy Jam was out, and he was like, you go to people's house and they have roaches and everybody pretends it's nothing happening, and you like, doesn't anybody else see the roaches on this wall? And that's how I'm feeling. Like, doesn't anybody else feel? That's how I was with grief. It made me angry because it seems like people go on about their life, and sometimes you feel stuck,
Yeah.
and you want to your soul is screaming like, doesn't anybody else feel this pain that I'm feeling?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Motherfucker, is going on about your life and I'm dying inside. So I think that to wake up crying it mean that your soul wasn't at ease when you went to sleep.
Right. Yeah.
So that's a lot of angst. Does she plan on staying there? Like that's just she staying.
I don't know. I think we all the kids, have said our our piece, and we're just like have to give her own time because I don't think that she really did her own grieving process until I want to say 2 years ago or so. And it was actually around the time that I had that encounter, at the house. It was like, I am sad, I'm grieving too. And her thing was she's just trying to be strong for us. And I was like, we don't need you to be strong for us. We don't need you to be strong for us. We didn't need you to be strong for us. You go ahead. Everybody's having their own grieving process.
Right.
So everybody's going to have their fallout moment, slide down the wall moment.
Yeah. Do you wish God didn't trust you so much? Or you got this? Or both?
Both. Definitely both. I got it. But God, please don't make me one of your strongest people this year. I don't feel like
that's a mean one, right?
Get somebody else to do it. Get somebody else to do it, man. Please.
Oh God. What scared you the most about when she died? And what did you do with that fear?
Well, what scared me the most? Not having her here in the physical. Maybe not knowing what next.
Because you always had a plan.
Yeah, like not knowing, well, what now? Like, there's things in my life that haven't happened yet, and I can't, be like, yeah, my mom was there, like, or my father was there. It's like, damn, this is something else. So that was one for me, I guess. That was really it.
If you could write a grief guide, what is the most important thing you would want to tell someone about losing a mom?
We lose people every day, but losing your mom is impacting for the most part. It can impact you a little bit, or it can impact you a lot. Like you said, some people don't even go to the mom's funeral, but it has some type.
That doesn't mean that it didn't impact them.
Yes, it has some type of impact. I would say you're losing a major part of you, and take your time and process it. And the process might be repetitive. I'm not saying that it's a roller coaster. This grief thing do not go away. You know how people say, "Oh, it'll get better over time," and I can't stand when people say it.
It does not get better over time.
Like, it don't get better over time. We just learn how to navigate life without the person. It don't get better. It don't get better over time. So just trust yourself and take the time to process it. And also, I want to say that if your parents are still living, please make sure they have insurance policies. That's
okay. That's another conversation, right?
The fish fries and everything else, guys.
And the GoFundMes.
Please, y'all, just Get the insurance policy.
Because you're going to pay one way or another. So you might as well pay for, even if you have to get a policy on them yourself.
Yes. Even if you have to get it yourself, like, I think that's something that we don't talk about. Like, it's a taboo subject for us
Right.
Black people. But insurance policies, that's how wealth is generated. That's a part of wealth generation. Please just get the insurance policy, even if you have to get it yourself, because funerals are expensive and it's not a joke.
And if you do have a policy, don't run it up.
That's the other thing. Have a plan. Have a plan. Like, know what that person wants. Like, what would you like? Maybe some people want to be cremated. Some people don't want a big old funeral with people crying all over top of them. So know what that person wants and what their desires are. I'm happy that I had the conversations with my mom before she passed, even though she felt like, damn, girl, you trying to kill me? Like, nah, I'm not trying to kill you. I'm just trying to make sure I know what it's going to be when it is this time, because I don't want us to have no fallout arguments about it. And that happens in families.
Now what?
Keep living my life. Keep living life to the fullest. Because for me, myself, I believe I am living some of my mother's wildest dreams, like things that she did not get to do. And I know that she didn't get to do these things because she would always be like, I would have loved to do that. Like, I know that I'm living her wildest dreams. So it's more about continuing to live a full life.
What makes you think about her, or you think about her every day?
Shit. I think about it every day. It's little things. It can be little things. It don't have to be anything major. Like, like just bought my house, and in my basement part, there's a pool table in there. I can't pay a lick of pool. But I would be like, damn, my mother would bust somebody's ass on this pool table if she was alive. Like, she was a pool player. So she would go in the spots and act like she couldn't play and leave out with that money. And it was like, man, it's a lot of things, the holidays. She was a big holiday person, decorating and everything else. So even being here, I'm like, oh God, Ernestine would love to fly down here and do this shit, but this is not my thing. Y'all go get this wreath on the door and call it a day, okay? And this Christmas tree, because I got kids, but that's about it.
Do they ask about? Do they have questions about things about grandma?
Yeah, mainly the youngest, because she was still, fairly young. And she remembers her. Of course, she wasn't like an infant, but they just want to know how it was growing up. What did we do? We ain't do shit, y'all. We ain't live the life y'all living, that's for sure. we didn't live the life y'all live. And I just take them around the way when we go home and try to show them where we lived at. And sometimes they be like, oh, y'all was living here over top of the cleaner. Like, how y'all live there? How y'all live there? I'm like, it got better over time, guys. We moved on up like the Jeffersons. We just went city to city and tried to get up a little further. But yeah, they ask and I answer the questions. That's all I can do.
I got one last question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever get that jersey?
Huh?
Did you ever get that jersey?
You know what? I did not get the jersey. And it's funny because I follow Lawrence Teller on Twitter, and every time he tweets and he comes up on my screen, I'm like, oh my God. I think about it.
You gotta get the jersey and put it up in the pool room.
You think so? I think I'm gonna do it.
You gotta get the jersey. You know how the guys, when they have the man caves, you gotta put it in the frame and put it.
I gotta do the whole bit. I would
and learn how. It's not necessarily like a shrine, but it's just it's like that was the last thing that you was gonna do for her.
right. That was it. I would really like if I could get it autographed. So I'm gonna just speak it into the atmosphere.
Speaking into it, you gotta get it and you gotta put it over the pool table. And even if you can't play pool, even if you just go down there and just be like, I got this motherfucking jersey.
I got this damn jersey. Now what?
Yeah,
Now what?
it'll be so. I'm not gonna say stupid because I think that we think of our parents in ways that parents are all like, Jazz could do the littlest thing. I'm like, oh my baby, but and then sometimes some things I do, I'm like, my mom or my grandmother would not approve of what I just did.
Some things I do, I'll be like, yeah. Some things the kids do, I'll be like, yeah. Ernestine would not. She did stuff right here, though.
and surprisingly, that has made me change on social media. Well, Facebook anyway, because I would say like my grandmother, some things that I say here, my grandmother would not approve, especially if I call myself growing.
Right.
So I said all to say, do you think she's proud?
I believe she is. And that's a crazy question because it was something that we look for our parents to say. My mom was not one of those people to actually like say, I'm proud of you, like you did a good job or anything of that nature. And I can't remember when, but it was actually in my adulthood when the first time I actually heard her say, good job, I'm proud of you. Like it was in my adulthood. I never heard my mother say those things before. She wasn't like an affectionate person, like hug you and, like we are to our kids. Like I am to my kids. Like I love on my kids. I'm a heavy lover on my kids type of person. And maybe that's because my mom was not a heavy lover on you. And so I'm that type of person to my kids. And so it's like, wow. That was the first time that I heard her say she was proud of me in my adulthood. Maybe it was after I got my master's degree. So, yeah.
So who's gonna handle your arrangements? Which kid?
I really don't want to put that.
Last time we talked about favorites, and I know parents don't have favorites.
My sister swear I am the favorite. I promise you, I never felt like I was the favorite, but they swear I was. So that's another story. But
yeah, that's another part.
I don't want to have one of them do it.
They're gonna do it together.
They could do it together, but I also have a will. And I want them to follow it. Don't you go up on those stages or in front of no people and say my mama would have liked it this way. No, I specifically am telling you I want this. I don't need y'all to guess. It's not going to be a guessing game. It's going to be this, that. This is who you don't invite. Don't you let this person come into my up here crying and boo-hooing and they ain't fuck with me like that. Don't you? You see people fucking posting people and then, coming to these services and you didn't mess with this person like that. Please just stay home. Like, don't post me. But I tell my friends when I see people go on a frenzy, hey, don't y'all let nobody post no old ass photo of me and them.
I say the same thing, or our old chat,
or our text messages. Like, please, don't y'all let nobody do none of that stuff. Don't let nobody do none of that stuff.
So, get a will.
Yes, absolutely. Because I don't want one of them to be responsible. I want them to do it together, but I want them to specifically follow what I said. Don't you dare. Don't you dare do my shit in all red when my favorite color is blue. I want it to be easy on them, because I do want them to go ahead and process their grief. So yeah.
So I know I said that was my last question, but this question is coping.
Mm.
You the only person I talked to that never mentioned
Coping.
you good without a therapist.
Heck no. You got to go to a therapist.
Okay.
This stuff to process. This is heavy stuff. So the therapist was was a major part, because like I said, I was in a dark place, and it wasn't just my mom passing, it was life happening in general. So, definitely got a therapist, and I like free myself and my thoughts up, because I just write. I journal every day. I'm a journaler, whether it's a good day or a bad day. And again, every day is not a good, it's not a bad day, but every day is a blessed day. So it's just like every day is a reason to be thankful for. But the journaling really, I feel like, has always been my space. I've been journaling since I was in the fifth grade. I still have my fifth grade journal. So it's just a free space for me. And it really helps with processing and letting thoughts go. Write it down and give it to God, and go on.
Write it down and give it to God.
Give it to God. Sometimes we don't need to, everything don't require a reaction or you to, be angry about. Sometimes you just got to write that shit down. And I gave it to God. I'm going to let him handle it. And whether I leave it in the journal, or if I take the page out of the journal and burn it in the fire, I have gotten rid of it, and all will be well.
That takes amazing faith.
That's years in learning for me, though. It's not something easy to do. But I do tell people, like, when your mind is heavy like that and you just need to get some stuff out, go write it down. If you feel like you're not a good like physical writer, go put that shit in a notepad in your phone or something like that, and get it out. And you see people angry.
Yeah, my notepad is full, and my voice notes.
Yeah,
because I work with my hands a lot, and sometimes I talk while I'm working.
Right. See, you just
be surprised of the outlets that there's out there besides a Facebook post, and then wait for somebody to DM you and saying, "Hey, what's wrong?
What's going on?" Like, man, I tell you, we live in a different world sometimes with this social media stuff. But yeah, I even though some people use the tool for ridiculous reasons, I do try my best, like you said, to go on there and be a vulnerable person, because people need it. It's people looking, and they like rooting for you for real, and you have no idea. Like, I had no idea, so many women were rooting for me until my DMs start filling up. Like, you go like, oh my God, that's awesome. And I'm like, oh, okay. People really like, okay. There's a few things I don't suggest though, but go, yes, thank you. Like, you doing your thing with them kids. I'm like, yeah, about that part, y'all. About that part. Single motherhood ain't no, that shit it's a shit show. It's not really for the faint at heart, y'all. I do not suggest it. But I get shit done, yeah, but that big but, I do not suggest going this route, guys. You might find yourself in the corner crying. So yeah, I try to use the tool for vulnerability points, just for those reasons, because people are watching.
People are watching.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you, Lina, for coming back again.
Hey, I got you. I got you.
The block.
I got you. I got
All right. Thank you.
you. Welcome.
Talk to you later. All right.
Bye.
Bye.